Hello, everybody. It is October 12, 2024. Yes. Do you know what happens when a dysfunctional family doesn't resolve their dysfunction? Every generation, that family gets worse and worse because if they don't resolve that dysfunction, which requires each individual resolving their own issues and then banding together to make that family stronger, more loving, more caring, more supportive of one another. When they don't do that, they just pass along all of those issues that they have not resolved to the next generation. And then the next generation passes their issues along to the next generation, and things get worse. And depending on how bad or that dysfunction is, not only will that family get worse, but there's a pretty good likelihood that they literally become pathologically mentally ill, violent, crazy, insane. So take that family unit and broaden it out to the greater society, because society is a reflection of the family unit. We have pretty crazy families. I think I could maybe count on five, or one hand, 5 fingers, the amount of people that I've met along the way that have strong, healthy families. And I've met a lot. So here we are, living the dysfunction, generation after generation after generation, everything getting worse, nothing resolved. Hey, ain't it great? No, it's really not. So hello, Alicia and Geofactor 3 and Sandra and Crazy Pots and Andrew Cruz and Amelia. They're kicking my comments on you and Real Fishing. It deals with masks and Mpox shot. The masks returning in California. All right, I'm not kicking anyone. It's YouTube. Tony Punch, hello. Joel, hi. You're halfway done building your panic room. Okay. The only thing you forgot was to put a door handle on the inside to get out. Glad you caught it. Kim Blanchard, hello. Rage Against the Machine. Angelos, James B. Hi, Rage Against the Machine. It's time of year when I get to pretend that 10 pounds of candy I'm buying is for trick-or-treaters. Okie dokie. Gotcha. Oracle 11, Space Indian, and Julie, and Steve Ladner, Sheepdog Patriot, Miss Blanche, Kevin Strickland, Kelvin, is it Kelvin Strickland? Hi, Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Hi, I'm waving to you. Eminem, hello. It's weekend. Less people are on the live during the weekend, which means that they probably have things to do. Are they the lucky ones? I wish I could say the same. Something to chew on. Hello. So let's just take a quick look at radar. Oh, look. Precipitation in Michigan. No severe weather alerts, which is good, right? But this looks a little odd. It looks flatlined on the top there. And it sure does look like it's just staying on the border here, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio. Huh. Well, let's take a look at, oh, they're loading new images. You got some frequencies here. Did I say Illinois? I meant Indiana. They have some frequencies in Indiana. The Michigan constant, extremely low frequency hitting this. But if you go to College of DuPage, oh, you see more frequencies. Look at that. You see a number of frequencies hitting this weather front. I wonder if it's going to turn into severe weather. Maybe not, but let me just go through each frame. And here's the extremely low frequency from the extremely low frequency transmitter site, military in Michigan. And here's a frequency hitting it, the south side of this. Oh, okay. New, loading new, but it's not much changed. Oh, wow. Here's another frequency. Here's more frequencies. I know the microwaves and I know the extremely low frequency signatures and certainly high frequency coming from Doppler radar, but we see new frequencies, yeah, quite often. But you can see the microwaves right here in this, what looks like precipitation, but you don't really know. So here are the microwaves, the ripple effect. Here more. And here. Yeah, pretty much every weather front now has man's hand on the frequency button. And oh yes, right here. Well, perhaps they're weakening the weather front. That would be good. Here's more frequencies. This little itty bitty weather front has quite a lot of charge. Here's another one. So let's play it out and just see. It does look like it's weakening, the supercells. I hope that's the case because we know a number of people right here in this area of Michigan. So, oh boy, it's been a very quiet time for us after Hurricane Milton, but I just want you to see, they were saying that Hurricane Nadine, one broadcaster said that it was not going to be hitting Florida, but others are saying it's very hard. It's very hard because it does not seem to be a consensus. We don't have a consensus on the weather anymore. And could that be purposeful to just leave everybody feeling like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I don't either. Rather confused. Get everybody to feel like they can't even rely on the meteorologists anymore. Remember when we used to be able to rely on meteorologists, right? You would plan your weekend based on the weather forecast, and generally speaking, a high percentage of times they were right. Remember those days. Those days are gone. All right, so we're going to start midnight later on tonight, October 13. And they said also another broadcast that this was going to be coming in on the 18th. It doesn't look like the 18th of October anymore, but I'm just going to go through this quickly. So each click, if you hear them, is 6 hours. So there's some rain, but nothing severe for the country, actually, which, yeah, I don't remember a period of time that we've had almost nothing and no severe weather for such a long period of time. But we're on the 17th, now the 18th. You got some snow up here in Wyoming and Montana and Idaho, huh? Yeah. So, just precipitation. We're on October 18, severe weather off the coast of Florida. Nothing horrible. Oh, but here it comes. We're on October 19, and it's coming into the Gulf. October 20, midnight. 6 a.m., it tightens into a hurricane. And here we go. 6 p.m., October 20, 6 or midnight, October 21. Didn't seem to move much. Still not moving much. Got the severe weather off the coast of Louisiana. So let's see where this takes us. Each click, 6 hours. It's tightening up. Oh, here we come. Oh, we're swinging it into the United States. A lot of severe weather. You've got on the 22nd, noontime, but the supercell line, don't you love it? That line, very defined, is October 22nd, 6 a.m. Oh, New Orleans, Tony, Louisiana Skywatch. Okay, so Monday, or should I say Tuesday midnight, of course, the severe weather comes inland, Louisiana. You got this circling around. Yep, you have still more severe weather. I don't like this map because I have a very difficult time distinguishing the boundaries of the states. But it does look like that severe weather for you in New Orleans hangs about for a while. It's 6 a.m. And here it's worse. At midnight on the 22nd, stretches out 6 a.m. Tuesday into Mississippi, stretches out even further, all the way on up to Tennessee. But it still hasn't left Louisiana. Mississippi, watch it, noontime, from midnight for 12 hours. This is going on. Now it swings into Alabama. And here's the hurricane at 6 p.m., October 22nd. A stretch of real severe weather. And when you see these, you can, well, it could be tornadic activity. It could be large hail. It could be flash flooding. It could be high winds. It could be straight line winds. Alabama into Tennessee. And the hurricane is swirling around in the Gulf. It's midnight, October 23rd. 6 a.m. on the 23rd, you still got pretty heavy rain going, and it is Alabama, northeast Georgia, northwest Georgia, and northeast. And now it's making its way to Kentucky. Unbelievable how these things, they're just like marathons, marathon runners. They just keep going and going. And here, it comes closer to the coast and Panhandle, Florida. And there it goes. On October 23rd, 6 p.m. Just about to make landfall at noontime, October 23rd. And voila. And of course, yeah, it continues on. 984 pressure continues on. Panhandle of Florida and southwest Georgia. Midnight, October 24. Southwest Georgia. Be very careful. This whole line, by the way, of pretty heavy precipitation has gone from Louisiana. Now it's on up into Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee at 6 p.m. on October 23rd. Southwest Georgia, be very careful. Panhandle, Florida, be very careful. Midnight, October 24. Oh, look at this. Okay. Georgia, targeted. It's 6 a.m., October 24. Now, this could change, as we all know, but I'm going to link below to this model. And you guys who are in these areas, Panhandle, Florida, and Georgia particularly, you should watch. Pay close attention to the forecasts. All those families and animals destroyed, yeah, well, more is coming. It's really hard. I did say years and years and years ago, prepare your psyche for an evil that you can't imagine. And we're living something, well, I'll speak for myself, that I would never have been able to imagine. And I don't know how well I prepared my psyche for it. We just keep moving along, which makes life just a whole lot of people not a happy camper. Did I put the link in? Oh, yes, I did. Yeah. Hurricane Nadine. Oh, you posted on Rumble. I wish we could drop links. I can drop a link. Oh, but I hardly ever go to Rumble. And I don't even know how to get my feed. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Good. Good. Actually, the only time I come to Rumble is when somebody sends me a video. All right. I don't see hurricanes, cruise ships, and purple rain. Well, I'm going to post the link to Tony Punch's Rumble page, which has a lot of very good information. So the link is in the chat. I recommend checking it out and subscribing or follow, whatever the terminology is for Rumble. Blue moon, that scares me. And yeah, a lot of people are talking about having a very intense winter here. And that scares me because it just scares me. So, great. Louisiana Skywatch. Just got back from Tickfaw and Kenner and NOLA. It feels like all of those areas are sinking. Fabulous. All right. So, I'm also going to recommend that you check out Dutch Synth's, much to my surprise, because I remember checking, maybe he had been kicked off of YouTube for a while, perhaps got his channel back, which is always like a wow. Can't believe I was notified after years. Neverlosetruth, we reviewed your channel after they had taken it down, and it was down for years. You suddenly review it and put it back up. Very strange. Okay. Dutch Synths. Now he concentrates on earthquakes now, but 13 years ago, Dutch Synths taught me more about weather modification, geoengineering, the Doppler radars, the effects, the signatures, than anyone else. And Dutch Synths, gratitude for your presence, for your work, always. Very grateful. That's why I am, for all of those who perhaps don't recognize the signatures, somebody left a comment asking if I thought the hurricane in Joplin was manufactured. Yes, absolutely. And in fact, it was Dutch Synths that was tracking it, called it, and boom, it happened. Okay. Those were the good old days. I say that tongue-in-cheek. Radar pulse, harp ring in Hurricane Irene. Yeah, it was quite a service. So the link is in the chat, and I really do hope that some of you that don't have a keen eye watch some of Dutch Synth's videos so that you can get a keen eye and you can learn a wee bit more than whatever it is that you've got going up here, the knowledge. Then you take a look at radar and you can kind of scope out, okay, it does not look good for my area. You could stay ahead of it. Okay, so yeah, I wish I talk about the tornadoes in 2011, the massive flooding in 2011. And yet I wish I were back in 2011. not living what we're living now. Massive petrol station explosion in Russia. No, US of A is not special. Awful lot of weather manipulation going on in Russia, lots of flooding, so all countries are getting it. I will say, well, I shouldn't say. I can't say, because I don't know if I'm getting all of the information in countries around the world. But in the non-specialness of the US of A, we are getting hit hard. So here,
Subhanallah. Biz bu vakit boş kısmı.
so far 4 dead, children among that number. And you do have to wonder about all of these explosions and the fires and you know, I'm going to have to go, excuse me, because I don't recall posting this, because I just found it right before the live. Oh, okay. Here. Ukraine has released a new video of its Dragon drones using thermite to burn down Russian positions in tree lines. And I was watching this video and I thought to myself, the starting of fires. And I am going to have to go to my other browser. So tiring. Remember when the internet actually worked for us all? Here you go. Wow. Boy. The very many ways in which they can start fires. Weapons of mass destruction. And at one point, you do see that while they're dropping incendiary sparks, look at this thing, in the trees, you also see what might fool people into believing it's a plasma fire. You don't know unless you're right there and you have the eye for the plasma fire signatures, like Jeff Snyder. I don't think that they are using one weapon. So, where do you think they got those Dragon drones? Maybe the US of A? Okay. And Florida, Eastern Tennessee, still Georgia, still South Carolina, that have been pretty much ignored, North Carolina. There's an awful lot of people who are really living day after day the massive destruction and the overwhelm of their lives being destroyed. So here, and mainstream media is on it, and they post the videos of, well, Hurricane Milton survivors returning home. We've seen this. I've seen it since I've been on the internet. Came on and, well, I should say YouTube, 2010.
Residents in the small beach city of Punta Gorda, Florida, waking up to scenes of utter destruction. Streets completely flooded. Debris scattered across lawns, even boats smashed into the side of homes. This one sitting on the road. While touring the wreckage, we meet the Drew family.
I'm heartbroken. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we can't do anything about it.
Deborah Drew, along with her 81-year-old mother-in-law, Patty, and daughter, Megan, returning to Patty's home for the first time since Milton's disastrous hit, a home Patty has lived in for 51 years.
This is the first time you're coming back to your home. What was your initial reaction?
Just devastating. I never expected it to be this bad. It's horrible. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just hope we can get it back to livable.
The Drews say they just finished cleaning up the damage from Helene and have never experienced back-to-back storms like this before.
7 days getting rid of the water, the first from Helene, and now she's full of muck.
And this is the second time.
Second. And
I hope you're all in good health and not that old. When you think about the health of the American population and think about all of these people who no doubt are dealing with so many health issues and disabilities, tired of Florida. This is what's happening. So you had this, influx of people moving to Florida, 2020, after when the pandemic was declared. And now a whole lot are moving out.
But no more of this.
Marissa Parra, NBC News. It's been 6 years since Jenny Galt moved to the Sunshine State.
What was it that had you attracted to the idea of living here?
My grandparents lived in Fort Lauderdale, and it was, for a kid from Illinois, it was paradise.
She dreamed of retiring in Florida. Now she wants to put her home back on the Tampa Bay market.
It's the prettiest city I think I've ever been in.
So why not stay?
It's a little hard with the weather. 2 hurricanes in the row has kind of tapped me out mentally and almost, financially.
That's why Galt has decided this one will be her last.
A lot of work. I'm 60. I don't want to keep doing it. I'm hot and I'm sweaty and I'm hauling, tree limbs.
Just years after Florida's pandemic population boom, nearly 12% of Florida homeowners say they plan to leave the state in the next year because of rising insurance costs. Floridians pay the highest premiums in the U.S., about $11,000 annually for homeowners insurance, compared to an average of nearly $2,400 nationwide.
Just 2 in 5 Floridians have money set aside for disasters like this. And for a lot of people, it's leading to a breaking point.
And it's impacting condo owners too, with updates to meet new safety standards, causing condo fees to spike and constant building in the state. Inventory is soaring. In Tampa, the number of condos for sale is up nearly 60% year over year.
Some of these condos have gone from $350, $400 a month for fees to $700, $800, $900 a month. And those prices don't come down over time, they only go up.
After 2 storms in 2 weeks, Galt is spent.
11,000. That's the average insurance that Floridians are paying. Wow. A whole lot of the country has become unaffordable for the majority of the population. Nick Shirley posted this video. It's a good video. Might want to circulate it. He was in North Carolina, and I'm just going to play a few minutes. But wow, I've been listening to people day 12, day 13, up in Western North Carolina, and still people are saying FEMA is nowhere to be found.
I don't even know how to describe this. How would you describe this, Dad? I don't even know how to describe this. How would you describe this, Dad?
Destructive. But I will tell you right now, FEMA is insolvent.
And how long have you been waiting for support from FEMA?
Well, I applied for it and they denied me, so I'm coming up here to stand on business.
We had to break the thing because,
Oh my gosh.
On the week of September 27th, many states on the East Coast were hit by Hurricane Helene. And to this day, Hurricane Helene is the most deadly and most damaging hurricane since Hurricane Katrina. The total numbers of death is still unknown and is believed to be in the thousands as search and rescue is still ongoing. This hurricane has been a major disaster and a storm like never before in the United States, as this hurricane reached areas over 300 miles from the coast, and the area being affected the most is Western North Carolina in the areas of Asheville. After seeing the horrific videos of entire towns and homes being wiped away from the hurricane, and with conspiracies and information spreading on the internet about FEMA and the lack of funds from the government to help these communities, I headed down to Asheville to see what was actually happening for myself. In this video, I will meet and speak with the locals who are helping to save the communities, confronting FEMA, and going inside homes and neighborhoods that were destroyed from the hurricane.
All right. Link again is in the chat. I have not heard of one person who's been approved for that $750 from FEMA. Not one. Everybody that I've heard has said they've been denied. And then I think it's in the Nick Shirley video where this woman from FEMA, who is there to, collect all of the information, the registration, social security numbers, this woman, she says, well, if you've been denied, just apply again. It just means that FEMA needs more information. Really? Wow. Are you telling people that? They have to jump through the hoops. This is what FEMA does. Okay. The other thing is, I was reminded these illegal immigrants get debit cards. They get debit cards filled with thousands of dollars. And why can't FEMA give these survivors debit cards? Okay. So, yeah. Here we go.
Allowed myself time to think and absorb, which is a good thing. This is a beautiful place, and so much of it has been ruined, and there's still so many people living without power or water, people running out of medications, especially insulin, EpiPens. Oxygen is a huge deal. They can't have oxygen concentrators running without electricity. We have whole veterans homes, nursing homes, with no electricity to cook, no lights to see to do personal care, no supplies coming in for adult briefs, purified water for the infants and babies that I've been focusing on. People are using their disgusting water with sewage in it out of desperation to make baby bottles, and that's just going to cause so much sickness down the road. A month from now, there's going to just be so much.
Blue check. I wish that people would take the full video from wherever their Instagram, TikTok, or because I always want to hear more and it's hard to find them. So, okay, yeah. And after volunteering a week, the nurse unleashes an emotional plea. Elderly and kids won't survive the winter. All these people without homes. We have subscriber Maximus, who was up in the Appalachian Mountains, and his home got flooded out. Wow. Could we not do the religion thing? It really, it sets off arguments, and we don't need that. And here, another one. October 11 update.
All right, y'all, I have another update from my husband. It is currently 1:58 on Friday, October the 11th. Last night, they came in contact with 60 families who had had zero help since day one. 60 families without any help. All flights in the area of Pole Creek Baptist Church have been grounded. And if you look at my last video, you'll get an idea of why. They are trying to make communication difficult in the areas of Chimney Rock and Bat Cave. Please share this. The media is not covering this. Evil things are happening to our neighbors in Appalachia. Get the word out there. This is so serious. Lives are at risk. I'll be back when I hear more.
And here's this woman. I don't think this is Anne Vandersteel. I think she posted this video on the ground in North Carolina. Worse than anyone is actually telling you.
The main road coming out of downtown Asheville, which is up that way, is a road called Tunnel Road. We're at the juncture just that away of Tunnel Road and Swannanoa Road. The road's washed away. All of the business, this is Glendale Avenue, gone. And then this is Swannanoa Road, where you see all these utility trucks. You can't get in there. Simpson Glass, big glass company, it's gone. Gone. Holy crap. Oh, it's all gone. Oh my God. They're trying to get electricity up because clearly these people don't have power. And they're not going to let us through here. And this is where they kept on saying they were finding bodies. Down there is where all the homeless people were staying. That was where Lowe's and all those places are. All the homeless lived there. Where we're going next, which is the tobacco barn, there was a sheriff there talking to the owner and a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention her name. He said he personally, with his team, has bagged over 1,000 people. Over 1,000 people. Look at this devastation. This road takes you straight into Biltmore. Swannanoa Road takes you straight into Biltmore. We're going to go through the village next.
Yeah. Let's just say mainstream media really downplays the number of deaths. You have to wonder why. Why? I guess because the American people, the adults, just can't handle the truth. They would be just so devastated if they heard thousands died. But when you see the utter destruction and that they did not get the kind of alert that they really needed to get, and it came at night. Yeah. Town after town after town taken out. Listen to this. This is Liberty Doll, which I just came across her channel. Are you reading this title? Okie dokie.
Let's talk about this. Watching the way that communities came together down here to rescue people who were trapped, airdrop supplies, build bridges out of flood debris, and organize meals for people in need has been amazing and gave me hope for humanity. Then I saw this story and the way that people reacted to it on X, and it was flat out disgusting. Now, of course, the people that are reacting in the way that I'm about to tell you are not from Appalachia and do not live in Appalachia, and that kind of explains a lot. But a man in Little Switzerland, North Carolina, posted a photo of a U.S. Army Chinook helicopter on Tuesday, October 8th. Now, this community had received some civilian donations that were dropped off by the National Guard, but they had been on their own up until this point. And then, after this supply drop from the Chinooks, they were told that they would not receive any other assistance because the choppers had to head down to Florida in preparation for Milton, and even the civilian airdrops were being denied. This was a week and a half after Helene hit the Carolinas, because Appalachia always gets screwed. Earlier in the week, there were 300 people who had taken refuge in a travel lodge up there where roads had washed away down to a 200-foot drop, where only hikers were coming through with supplies. Now, some helicopters, again, did come in with insulin, medications, and food, but according to the community there, they were largely donations and drops from the private sector. And on top of these people that were trapped in this lodge, there are still, right now, dozens of families that no one can contact or get to because the damage is so bad. Now, this poster, he did say that typically they are so high up that they don't see the government for much of anything. Little Switzerland is an unincorporated area in McDowell and Mitchell counties at about 3,500 feet elevation, and it's just north of Asheville. So, this Chinook dropped off a few pallets of government goods to this community that is still without power. Those goods included 3 pallets of electric chainsaws. Electric chainsaws. To a community without power. Seems on brand. Now, some of the comments poked fun at this great example of peak government efficiency. Others, not so much. Now, the photo of the saws was taken at the supply distribution center that they'd put together, where some folks had set up some generators. Some pointed out the fact that there was light in the photo, to which the poster responded, yes, that they did have some generators at that building. After that, all hell broke loose, with people telling this guy to just plug in the chainsaws directly to the generators and move around the generators to wherever people had trees that needed to be cut, even 15 miles up the mountainside with roads only passable by hike. Or, alternatively, to tell people, including those families that no one can get to hike down those 15 miles to charge up their chainsaws on this generator. There are, again, families that are still stranded that haven't been contacted for over a week later, because all the ways up to them are inaccessible. But sure, tell the community to lug a generator up there for a chainsaw. They made comments saying that the electric saws would have less emissions and were therefore better and would be more fuel efficient, and claimed that the people in this mountain community of rugged individualists were too stupid to mix oil with their gas for gas-powered saws. The man said that they did actually have plenty of gas available from siphoning for cars, or were using their generators to power electric pumps and empty out gas reserves, and that some of the private sector donations they'd received were in fact cans of mixed chainsaw fuel, which are much easier to carry around up those 15 miles and last a lot longer than a battery charge. Though at least he says that some of the saws came with a full charge. So
you think that was just a mistake? Sending them electric saws. Slap in the face. Every single day, you get a slap in the face. And so many people are suffering.
We moved a lot of stuff out this morning, so what we had, this was home, you know, when you at home and you don't think this is gonna happen, you don't think that somebody's gonna come and just rip away your whole life, you don't think about that. So this is This is home and it's gone. Home is gone. So home ain't home no more. So yeah, I'm very emotional. I knew that. I said, baby, we gotta go, but we ain't gonna survive this. So we end up going to a shelter, and trying to wait it out. But as we were there, he was talking to one of his friends, and they was telling him, I see your roof lifting up. It wasn't gone then. Then we got another text message say, your roof gone. My husband was crying, I was crying, because we just couldn't believe it, because like he's from here, he grew up here, and he's like, it's never hit home. So it goes around or no water damage, but never this bad. And so,
And I'm sorry to say, but never say never. Never say never. There are so many counties with the flooding.
Additional rainfall from a meteorological perspective, it is going to be mainly dry this weekend. Rescues, there were multiple evacuations of some areas, including Pasco County, because of the waters were rapidly rising. Again, today they're only steadily rising or starting to fall as the water finally, the drainage systems, the rivers, they can kind of catch up with the rain that has fallen. We're not seeing additional rainfall from a meteorological perspective. It is going to be mainly dry this weekend. Could see a couple of quick passing showers, but nothing that will exacerbate the flooding that you are seeing on your screen.
Yeah, passing showers, more. This is another area of Florida.
In Florida, the death toll from Hurricane Milton's path of destruction currently stands at 16.
Last number I heard, 17.
More than 2 million people in Florida remain without power. Rescue teams are working as fast as they can to get trapped residents out of their flood-ravaged homes. And this already chaotic situation may only get worse because floodwaters are expected to rise tonight. CNN's Isabel Rosales is in the Tampa area, where the dangers left behind Hurricane Milton are far from over.
I feel for everybody that's been through the same thing. Really do. I never expected it to happen to me. Nobody expects it to happen to them.
When Hurricane Milton barreled out of Florida Thursday morning, Ralph and Tina Janito felt they had survived the worst of it. But late Thursday night, their daughter urgently woke them up, telling them, get out.
We left last night at 10:30 with 3 foot of water outside. So my daughter says it was going to come up even higher.
Milton's torrential downpour dumped 10 to 18 inches of rain around the Tampa Bay area. And as a result, rivers and reservoirs overflowed. And the danger not yet over, as the river is forecast to crest as high as 25 feet Friday night, a major flood stage.
This area is not supposed to get this way. It's not supposed to. We're the last road, supposedly, that floods. But now it's beyond us, all the way to Lithia.
Long after the storm.
This one is 25 minutes. I'll put the link in if you want to watch it. Okay. I just want to say that I think that it's really ridiculous to fight over religion and people's beliefs. And, instead, maybe what we should really be doing is concentrating on how to unite and how to help one another. No wonder the Harris-Biden FEMA is so freaking worthless. Yeah. Okay. Ready to get sick?
Sparked a few things. In my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why we're having these discussions, because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the little meowing in the background. The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more, right? And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that have less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery supports.
Every federal agency is working on diversity, equity, inclusion. Okay? Why? FEMA is supposed to be concentrating on emergency management, emergencies. To hell with all of the special needs people, special categories. Forget it. Americans. Just focus on Americans. How about that? And it was Kamala Harris who actually said that we need to take equity into policies. And what did that mean? Did it mean that when we have a disaster like this, that we're going to focus on only giving need to those who are non-white, LGBTQ, whatever, over white people? Doesn't that lead us down a road that's not good? Yes, of course it does. Of course it does. Yeah. Well, and it's not like non-white people are getting helped over white people, because you see an awful lot. Every disaster, a whole lot of Black Americans are being, well, ignored, neglected, just like their white fellow Americans. Where did all of this money go? We have been so ripped off year after year. They feed this money into these agencies, and we have no idea where it's going. Billions and billions. Oh yeah, we do know that an awful lot of those billions went to illegal migrants, despite the Biden-Harris Mayorkas claiming that that's not true. It is true. But I'm dishing out misinformation. They're lying sacks of shit. But we on social media are misinforming people, and we should suffer the consequences of that. That's what Biden said. Mobile home residents. Numb after Milton? Yeah, you get numb.
Taking an emotional toll on so many neighbors. Brittany Muller is in Manatee County again tonight with more of their heartbreaking stories.
It's total destruction here in the Tideview Estates mobile home park in Manatee County. Some residents losing their entire roofs and their homes, a total loss. And for those residents that didn't see the significant and extensive damage, it's now neighbors helping neighbors. Mark Willis and Mary Jo Dolce moved to Manatee County from Kentucky 7 months ago.
Because our bed's soaking wet. This was our dream. We both needed warmer weather, and so this was our happily ever after. Come on.
Hurricane Milton shattered that dream.
This is Bubbles, her first hurricane.
Dolce and Willis evacuated with their 2 rescue cats. But when they returned,
The complete roof just got ripped off and thrown over into the Shake Shack parking lot. But it's just heartbreaking, you know, when you, this is the first hurricane too for us, you know.
Their home is a total loss. They're left numb and in shock.
Well, we got major leaks and everything was sopping wet.
Mobile home communities saw devastation beyond belief. During the height of the storm, emergency services were suspended. But as soon as it was safe, Palmetto Police Chief Scott...
I don't want to listen to the government officials. Floridians pick up the pieces after hurricane. Listen to what Biden has to say.
We're going to be going to the Congress. We're going to need a lot of help.
Help when it comes to allocating more funds for FEMA, with the disaster relief budget running low after back-to-back hurricanes.
The Disaster Relief Fund certainly does not have enough money to continue recoveries for everything that I have through the entire fiscal year, but I have enough money to support the immediate needs for everybody impacted by Helene and Milton.
Griswold and Biden are now calling on House Speaker Mike Johnson.
When you don't give them what they need, when you provide no assistance, you certainly do have enough funds for Helene and Milton.
Johnson to tell lawmakers return to D.C. so they can allocate more money for FEMA.
And I think Speaker Johnson's going to get the message that he's got to step up, particularly for small businesses.
We are running out of funds. It's a matter of days that we will be depleted of resources to be able to fund folks to get back into their homes.
It comes during an update Friday on the federal response to Hurricane Milton, with teams on the ground in Florida to help those impacted by the storm, as the commander-in-chief prepares to visit the Sunshine State Sunday to see the damage firsthand and meet with those recovering, along with state and local leaders to find out what they need, with Milton causing an estimated $50 billion in damage.
Just alone, $50 billion.
And who knows if that's the actual figure? Okay. So yeah, so we're going to pass over the responsibility to Congress. They didn't give enough funding. But that woman said, we're going to run out of funds in a matter of days. Well, it doesn't sound like they do have enough for those suffering from Helene and Milton. Okay, I just want to say that for anyone posting videos, could you please not do the clickbait titles? Because it's very annoying, you know, and we talk about the manipulation of mainstream media. But then you see a title like this: President of China now openly admits he sent hurricanes to destroy American cities and oil production. It required me listening to the full 17 minutes and 34 seconds to find, and now I knew that this was bullshit, but I clicked, I listened, and nowhere in the video does he even say that? Why do people do this? Why do people do this? It makes all of us look like idiots. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just... Good information on weather modification, but nothing about China openly admitting they sent hurricanes to destroy American cities and oil production. And in fact, in the very beginning, I hear that it's China doing this because China wants to be the world's power. It's China. It's not us. It's China. Really? Well, I guess this guy is on the inside and he knows that it's China not the United States. Okie dokie. Portugal, France, UK had some flooding.
Chaos in northern Portugal.
You now get hurricanes in Europe? Really? Okay. And tornadoes.
Especially in the Porto metropolitan area and Alto Minho.
Does it even look that windy to take down that sign?
Over 1,600 incidents were recorded, including fallen trees, structural customers.
Trees down, power outages. Yeah. Not the kind of massive flooding that France got again and again. Where am I? Saudi Arabia is getting these flash floods. Wow, a whole lot of times. Think about it, Saudi Arabia. Okay, desert. Yeah, doesn't that need to be questioned?
Mecca, Saudi Arabia, October 11, 2024.
Yep.
Karamah witnessed heavy rainfall today as the number of social
Saudi Arabia is soon to be designated a tropical region. Hurricane Kirk floods submerge buildings, streets outside Paris. Let's take a look.
In France, flooding from Hurricane Kirk has left areas near Paris without running water and electricity. Streets and homes were submerged in floodwaters. Now, French authorities have warned the public of a high risk of flooding in more than 30 areas. The remnants of the storm continue to pass over Western Europe right now.
Mais c'est très compliqué puisqu'on n'a pas d'électricité. Donc, on ne peut pas se laver parce qu'on n'a pas d'eau chaude. On ne peut pas manger parce qu'on n'a pas de gaz. Et on ne peut pas se chauffer non plus. Donc, nous sommes sortis, on a fait ce qu'on a pu. On est passé par la fenêtre de la cuisine. On est descendu sur la table de jardin, un peu acrobatique quand même. Et on a pu sortir, récupérer nos voitures qui étaient à l'extérieur de la ville pour aller se nourrir. On est allé manger. On n'avait pas non plus de batterie de téléphone. On ne pouvait pas. La famille m'appelle, m'envoie des messages, mais je ne peux pas répondre.
Power outages, internet outages, massive flooding coming right on into homes and businesses, and oh boy. I don't understand the brain that refuses to consider that something else beyond climate change is happening. I don't get it. But fires, now it seems that everything said on social media, all those who are doing all of the research, finding out, oh, There's an awful lot of lithium, and same thing with Idaho, Wyoming, North Carolina, and an awful lot of other places. It's all a conspiracy theory, and mainstream media is on that topic, conspiracy.
1,000 firefighters are battling a pair of wildfires in Wyoming, with an estimated 100,000 acres burning. Officials say the fires were caused by lightning strikes, but as fast as flames have spread, so have the conspiracy theories. Some social media users floating unproven claims suggesting a connection between the elk fire's growth and lithium deposits, alleging global leaders are starting the fires on purpose to clear out the land for lithium mining. Wyoming recently announced lithium discoveries in Natrona County, but Bighorn National Forest, where the elk fire is burning, is far from that site. Experts also note hot, dry, and windy conditions have fueled the fires as crews fight to stop their spread. Evacuations have been ordered across several counties, and U.S. Highway 14, one of the main roads in the state, was shut down. The state is taking action to protect livestock and is getting emergency funds from the USDA to help with agricultural recovery. Residents took to social media this week, expressing frustration over lack of media coverage. They note most news outlets are caught up in Hurricane Helene recovery and Hurricane Milton barreling down on Florida. For more on this story, download the Straight Arrow News app or visit SA.
Wow. Yeah. We're a mess. Communication has become a friggin' mess. All right. I showed a video 2 nights ago, I think, on the live about government military with all of their technology and all of these green lasers that are scanning neighborhoods and communities. Look at this.
Pause. It's a plane flying low over people's homes, scanning the ground with that green laser. Welcome back. I'm Chris Safadi.
And I'm Lois Tomey. So what does this plane, what is it doing? Awake News anchor Annette Montgomery joins us in the studio. And Annette, what did you learn?
Well, Chris and Lois, I learned who it's not after reaching out to everyone from the city of Cape Coral to the county to the Florida Division of Emergency Management to the South Florida Water District and Port Authority. Now, these low-flying planes with green lasers does not belong to them. One neighbor got so fed up, she purchased a flight radar to help narrow down the search for the owner. It's not something you see every day.
Oh, geez, it was, it went back and forth. At least, I would say 40 minutes to an hour.
But for people living in Cape Coral, they've been seeing it a lot this week.
It was really late at night. It was kind of around midnight. And I was actually in my car. I was just getting home, and I saw it going back and forth with a laser beam, and it scanned over me multiple times, and it was just moving. It was scanning the whole area, every square footage, basically, going just forth.
That low-flying plane was in Casey Sutton's neighborhood for hours Sunday night. Philip Bertolio saw it the same day, but a few hours earlier while watching the Super Bowl game.
When it came by, you could see the green laser light spread out, like it was mapping. We heard someone was mapping the area is what we were told. And it kept going in a north and south direction, and it would just go farther to the west. It kept going north and south and come.
It's the first time these neighbors saw a sight like this while looking up at the night sky. So Casey decided to track down who the plane and its lasers belong to.
I've never had flight radar until this happened, because I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it shows that what kind of plane it was and what type of plane. But I don't know who owns it. It just says private owner.
When you put the information Casey provided into the FAA website, it comes back with this information saying it's registered to Randigo LLC. But it's unclear who or what they're doing.
We just want to know what's going on. Why we're being scanned.
I also reached out to the U.S. Geological Survey as they are doing some mapping and data collection involving low-flying planes right now. But they told me not only do their planes fly during the day, they also don't use green lasers.
What are they doing to us? What are they doing? All right, No jail time for man who fatally stabbed a senior in Vancouver. No jail time. Vancouver's Biltmore Hotel in 2020 has been given a conditional sentence for the killing, meaning he will not serve any jail time if he remains on good behavior in the community. And what if he doesn't? Then he stabs somebody else. Wow. Brilliant, Canada. Gee, I was hoping that you were a little bit, well, your IQ was higher than your cousins down below. Doesn't seem like it. We have the name Anthony Warren Woods. That's the murderer who doesn't get a jail sentence. All right. It's hard to comprehend much of anything anymore. Illegal alien is charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide after killing a mother and her 3-year-old daughter in a car accident. He had no license and was going 80 in a 35. Pennsylvania. But vote for Kamala. Not much is going to change with Trump anyway. So, all right, no end in sight. I like this rep in New York City. And in fact, if we had never moved, she would have been my representative, Vicky Palladino.
Continue using pricey Manhattan hotel rooms to house some of the city's 200,000 plus migrants. New York City planning to continue using pricey Manhattan hotel rooms to house some of the city's 200,000 plus migrants. A new contract would make 14,000 rooms available, costing taxpayers over $300 each per day. That's on top of the $2.3 billion spent on housing migrants just since 2022. Vicky Palladino is a New York City councilwoman who opposes the plan. She joins us now. Vicky, why is New York City doubling down on taking resources from its own residents and giving them to illegal migrants?
You know, we've been talking about this now for 2 years. And it's almost like we're pressing the reset button. Once again, now we need more. What does that mean? We got 150 right now New York City hotels being taken over by migrants. The cost is $2.3 billion. No, it's closer to $5 billion. Wow. So, you know, don't forget the debit card that goes with that. It's a free pass. 14,000 more rooms. Now, also, let's think about this. There's been a little lull here in bringing up the migrants and the what's going on here with the illegals and what it's costing the city. We've kind of taken a bit of a hiatus because other things have been deflecting from the point that this problem still very much exists. And it's only going to grow. There's no end in sight. 14,000 more hotel rooms. That means they're going to branch out now more so into the outer boroughs, quite possibly to more independent hotel owners, making them millionaires who are struggling, making them millionaires overnight.
Yeah, people are getting rich off of that.
Millionaires.
It's huge. So why are you, one of only a few people in New York City government, speaking out about this? Aren't citizens going to their council people and saying, stop this. I'm tired of paying for something that doesn't help me. It, in fact, hurts me.
It's a very good question. We have 51 council members. We have 9 that sit on what we call the Common Sense Caucus. There are 3 Democrats that make up the Common Sense Caucus. The other 6 are Republicans. We're 6 Republicans in a radical, progressive city council. To my city council, if you were to ask any of the council members whose offices are remote, people go to their offices because they come to mine because they're not getting what they need service-wise from their city council members. Their offices are closed. So when you talk to my city council doesn't even think this is enough. Wow. This isn't enough. So the fact that it's killing tourism, killing our economy. We're looking at a $10 billion bill. And Hochul's going to come down here and dictate to us what we should do? No.
Here's what the New York City Department of Social Services says in a statement to us, quote, while this is a new competitive solicitation, it will simply replace an existing emergency contract and not add 14,000 additional units on top of the existing capacity, while allowing DHS to continue to provide safe housing for newly arrived families and individuals as they work toward independence and the next.
You know what? Years and years we've been listening to these and very similar news broadcasts all over the country, giving these illegal migrants everything that they need, while Americans, and it's in our face, Americans are so desperate for help. So I look to Americans. What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? Dysfunction, if you don't resolve it, oh boy, does it get worse and worse and worse and worse. To the point where, the dysfunction becomes mental illness, and a whole lot of adults literally do not know how to take care of themselves and don't know what to do. So they just don't do anything. A whole lot don't care. Oh well, look at our lives getting destroyed. More and more Americans every day. Okay, great. I'm glad people post on this, because I did. You'd have to, go through a lot of videos to find mine. But yes, United Nations replacement migration, UN document reveals everything. The link is in the chat. You might want to circulate it, but yeah, compact for migration. There's a lot of UN documents under the umbrella of compact for migration where countries have signed on to literally facilitate the migration that we are seeing. Taxpayers in the countries will be paying for it at the expense of the citizens. Okay. Link is in the chat. Business owner killed, wife duct taped by fake DTE workers. And this is Michigan. It's a Detroit news. Boy, I can't think anymore. News program.
The Oakland County Sheriff says they were posing as DTE workers. A 72-year-old man killed in a Rochester Hills home invasion, and the details in this case are chilling. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Will Jones, in for Devin Skillian.
And I'm Kimberly Gill. The sheriff says they got the first call a little before noon today. Happened at a home on Newcastle Drive, not far from the intersection of Dutton and Squirrel Road. So let's get out to Sean Lay. He has more on this story. Sean.
Sheriff Bouchard is right here, as a matter of fact. I'll just grab you real quick, because you said you could have, well, I was asking you just now, anything on these two suspects posing as DTE guys in a white truck. They're gone. The man in there, 72 years old, is dead. And you say you could have a picture for us of the suspects, but you don't because of Ring camera. Ring doorbell.
They're not cooperating.
Not cooperating. They just said, no, we're not going to give you the images.
We have a search warrant. We have permission of the homeowner. We have had her talk directly to them.
Sure.
She's missing her phone that does two-factor authentication.
Okay.
They reset her password, but it goes back to the phone she doesn't have.
And you want them to just send it.
So we can't access the pictures of our suspects, which are on that system. We could hand it to your viewers now and say, these are who we're looking for.
We see your deputies fanned out countywide. We see your helicopter up because there's two guys on the loose who killed this man.
Right.
And you want to get the images from Ring.
We could hand them to you right now. If they...
Ring is very compliant with law enforcement to hand over anything that they want. So for some reason, They're not this time. I wonder why. Wonder if the pictures reveal that they might be migrants posing as utility workers. The home invasions around the country are also increasing.
They would be cooperative.
All right, thanks for that update, Sheriff. Here's the very latest, guys. Watch this.
2 individuals, a thin African American male and a heavy.
Just want to say, if you don't know who they are, but you got word that one of them is Black, to say that they're African American is such a presumption that is so, it's like for Americans, every Black person is African American. That's bizarre. Okay, I just had to say that.
Set Hispanic male approached the house and said they were DTE workers looking for a gas leak. They had a placard on the side of a white pickup truck.
Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard giving us the details of a horrific homicide that unfolded at this Rochester Hills home on Newcastle in the Hawthorne Hills subdivision.
Home invasions. And many of them are conducted by illegal migrants. We've got an awful lot of these migrants in organized criminal organizations all over the country, robbing, burglaring homes. A whole lot of those gangs that run into stores and, what is it called? The crash and grab, or illegal migrants. Now, that's not to say that there aren't a lot of American criminals out there. We know that. But why open the border to known criminals, release them into the United States and create more crime? Gee, we have so many good policies that have been executed throughout the decades. Here we are. Kamala stumped when asked how she's different from Biden. Just listen to this for a few minutes. It is remarkable and frightening that there could be. I understand the support for Trump. I do. Because he's, just like the last time, he's feeding his base with everything that they want to hear. Okay? And frankly, even if you're not a Republican, a whole lot of people do want to hear, he's going to crack down on this migration. He's going to do. Okay, fine. But Kamala? Really? Okay.
Or else. So you remember when they said they were going to turn the page? Remember this?
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page.
And you know what else that looks like? Besides looking like they combined a rainbow with a Heil Hitler? It looks like the trajectory of an intercontinental ballistic missile. Turn the page. Doesn't it?
You like that?
You like that?
Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we going to do? We're going to turn the...
It does look like a bit of a Heil Hitler. Even
Tim Walz's wife addressing an audience of adults as if they're kindergartners. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to turn the page. It's embarrassing. It's so humiliating. I mean, even just this with her takes infantilization to a whole new level. Turn the page. Well, Jimmy Dore says it absolutely right. You ain't turning no page, because the page is Kamala now, and then the page will be if she wins Kamala again. Same page.
And he won't do it again.
I mean, he looked more feminine than her doing it.
That's why.
Anyway,
But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page. You like that? Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me. What are we gonna do? We're gonna turn the page. Oh, great.
He like tries to throw it fast. Like, I'll do it like a tough guy. I'll do it like I'm eating a carburetor.
Hey, I have a question. Why is Tim Walz's wife even talking at all? She ain't running for shit.
I don't know. But anyway, so the irony is they're about turning the page. But again, I've made this point a million times. Kamala Harris is on the page you're turning. She's currently in office. She's the vice president. So you're going to turn that page, and who's on that other page? Her too. So no difference in those pages.
It's the same book. Like, burn the book is what I say.
You mean you're just now turning the page from 2020 now? That's what you're doing? Because that's what aren't you leaving out the 4 years of Democratic control and abject failure? Anyway, so Kamala Harris was given a softball question. She's on The View. And they ask her, what would you do different than, well, here it is, watch.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of.
No. She should get a neck tattoo that says "No regrets." That's what she should do.
What do you no regrets?
Massive gaslighting. Massive gaslighting. Massive. The destruction during the Biden years has been, wow. Okay. But we knew everything was just going to accelerate, right? Okay. Nothing comes to mind. Nothing comes to mind. And she praises Biden and she talks about the fabulous things that Biden has done. Okay. Massive gaslighting is going on. You know, it's kind of like having somebody, you know, literally just punch you in the face and say, that wasn't a punch, it was a kiss.
No regrets.
On her neck.
So what would you do different? What would you do different?
If anything,
what would you do different?
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of,
because I'm not usually thinking, things just don't come to my mind, but unless they're written down and I have to rehearse them. So,
and a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Impact.
You think they
impact? Yeah, they certainly have had impact. A whole lot are dead. I don't get, oof, boy, it's scary when you think about how this is what is offered. Okay. Generations of dysfunction gets worse and worse unless you resolve it. You got to hold people accountable in the resolution along with yourself. Oh, that's the part that people don't like to do. So they just carry on. And then you accept people like this thing. Oh, man. Christian teacher, Mr. Burke, has been sent back to prison in Ireland after he refused to use a student's preferred pronouns. A Christian teacher. Burke has already spent 442 days in jail for opposing transgender ideology in Ireland. In Ireland. People can't see the tyranny that is taking over Western countries. Are they brain dead? Back to jail. Back to jail. Senator Roger Marshall. I'm having one of those migraines without the headache. The lights flashing. Roger Marshall of Kansas. Last night, I played this little clip of this professor at the University of Kansas who is claiming that men who do not vote for Kamala should be lined up and shot. Oops, he lost his job. I am glad to report that the professor who called for men to be lined up and shot, declaring open season on people who don't plan to vote for Kamala, is no longer an employee at Kansas University. Good news, right? You got to take your crumbs when you get them. Yeah, I'm going to play this. It's it is the height of arrogance, no matter who you are, to show up and scold people for behaving in ways that, well, you don't like. In other words, not supporting Kamala, as Obama did. And he's gotten a lot of backlash for it. But for this guy to come in from his mansion, so corrupt, no moral core, lying sack of shit. He was the one who really got, well, we were getting so far with race relations in our country, and boom, he comes back and whoa, there's a whole lot of division going on due to Obama. Yeah, the guy who walks on water, who he's so swell. No, he's not. He is so psychopathic, so narcissistic. But if you watch Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Each president comes in. Oh, they make their promises. They hardly ever fulfill their promises, and they carry on the same policies as the last administration. And it doesn't matter if that administration is from a different party, because we only have one party, and you guys know it. Okay.
Barack. As a native of Chicago that watched your policies not do a single thing for Black people, not anything for crime, not anything for a better way of living, it is insulting that you decided to get up here and pander us as Black men for not voting for Kamala Harris. You are only voting for Kamala yourself because you have no choice. We both know that deep down inside, you wanted the open convention, but the optics didn't look good. We also both know that there were way better candidates that you guys could have went with for president, but you guys didn't. And so now they bring you out, the big guns, because they need you to come up here and clean up this mess. Because you know what? You are a well-spoken man. Because I can tell you right now that your nominee is not. I can tell you that your nominee doesn't answer questions. Your nominee stutters all the time, and she spits out word salads. And you expect for us to vote for her. I'm Black. I'm not stupid. I vote for policies. I vote for what's going to allow for my way of living to change. I vote so that everyone can have a chance and continue to be a free thinker and not have censorship. And then you got up here on this stage and insulted every black man in America. And it's not okay. And so now you guys are sitting here and you want us to vote for this administration, who has caused the highest inflation, grocery prices suck, and they don't let everybody in the border. And if I remember, Barack Obama, you were the deporter in chief. You deported over 3 million people. And for your nominee to not even be smart enough that when someone asks her a question, what would she do differently than what Joe Biden did, and her to say nothing is even more wild. So before you decide to get up here and attack every single black man on this planet, I want you to take a self-reflection and think about the behaviors that you're doing and that you're trying to put on us because we don't want to vote for Kamala. I want you to really look down deep inside of yourself and say, would you really vote for her if you wasn't a part of the Democratic Party? If it wasn't your job, would you really vote for her? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. Because the scrutiny that you went through to become president, she hasn't even went through. No one voted for her at all. You guys inserted her. And so now here you come, being the sweeper in chief to try to clean up the mess. But I got a surprise for you, Barack. We're going to continue to be free thinkers. We're going to continue to fight people who want to censor us. We're going to continue to be the people that we need to be because we are starting to arise. Because I don't like the word woke. We are starting to arise to the occasion so that we can create a better America where Democrats and conservatives and independents can live freely and prosperous. And you're right, we do need to turn the page because the book that I'm reading right now, if I turn the page based on what Kamala said about her own self, I would be signing up to read the book a little bit longer for 4 more years. And that's not what I want to do.
By the way, he's Brazilian, as you can see at the bottom, Brazilian black. Oh, so I guess every black person is not African American. Oh, okay. Right. But can you believe Obama shows up and the brothers, that's how he talks to them, you know, like he's street. And scolds them because there's not much support for the Democratic Party in Chicago, by the way. But this was in Pittsburgh, I believe. And so, yeah, could we get off this, you know, you got to vote based on the color of your skin? She's not even black. Okay. It's a flippin' dysfunctional mess that we're living. Some of us are really feeling it. And yeah, okay, somebody thought that this was a good idea. Someone thought that this was a good idea. Did I say that enough times? Someone thought this was a good idea.
I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man, man. And I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Meat. Man enough to cook my steak rare. Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
I ain't afraid of bears. That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women. They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies? Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like. Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight. It sucked. Not worth it.
I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife.
In front of my kids.
In front of my horse. I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually, Good Will Hunting.
West Side Story. That and predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful.
That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women.
I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Democrats? Really? Really? You haven't noticed that your party has become so batshit crazy that someone thought that was a good idea. Thought it was a good idea that she give an interview for a sex podcast, that she do Vogue, that she go on The View. She doesn't answer any questions. And if she does, she's not answering it, but she's giving, well, I grew up in who gives a shit? Have you heard any policies that she's interested in? She talks about it's going to be an economy of opportunity. Our economy is dead. Thank you, a lot of administrations. There are no jobs, where she wants to literally gut your First Amendment, Second Amendment. But these are men who I guess are to influence other men to vote for her. Really? I mean, some of those men, I was thinking of that movie where, that guy says, I can't quit you. Because they do seem a little like, are you really? Are you really? Are you really? Are you really? Okay. So something is wrong with Americans. Something's very wrong with Democrats. Not the party, because they're just doing this shit to humiliate you. But where are the brains of the Democrat adults that can't see through this utter humiliation of them? Just because I'm a man, I'm going to vote for Kamala. A whole lot of people, they want to vote for her because she's a woman. Doesn't it matter? Shouldn't it matter to people that, well, you want somebody qualified for sure, regardless of sex, color of skin, doesn't matter. But you want somebody of moral character. Well, I guess that's gone out the window. The decades of just watching crap fed to the American public. Well, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evil. And you get evil. Holy, wow. Idiocracy. We're there. We are there. This is Vernon Jones, who, he too didn't particularly like what Obama had to say.
Hello, America, and hello, Georgia. I'm Vernon Jones, former state representative from the great state of Georgia, and I'm out doing my normal morning jog. By the way, it's a great day to be in Georgia. It's a beautiful fall day. But anyhow, I just had to pause for the cause. I, like many of you, observed and listened and watched Barack Obama last night as he addressed black men. But as a black man, he did everything but address us. What he did, he berated black men, he rebuked black men, he even scolded black men, primarily because we will not fall in line and vote for Madam Lock-Upper Brother, Kamala Harris, because that's her record. As if black men are too stupid that we can't vote our self-interest, what's best for us, our pocketbook, our families. As if we've been immune to the past 3.5 years, as if we don't know that gas prices have been higher under Kamala Harris. Food prices higher under Kamala Harris. Interest rates on home mortgages higher under Kamala Harris. And runaway borders under Kamala Harris. But you know what? That's what the liberal white Democratic Party did. They dispatched Barack Obama out there to whip black men back on the plantation to vote Democrat. And you know, President Obama, he meant a lot to black people, but he didn't do anything for black people. And for him to want to come down from his mansion in Martha's Vineyard and tell black men how we should vote, really? You don't even live in Chicago anymore. You left your black community, Barack Obama, and you want to tell us how to vote? We're not having that. And we're not voting for Kamala Harris.
Oh, God. Wow. Wow. I'm glad a whole lot. This is the good part of social media. You know, it's the town hall. So you get some arrogant shit thing come out, think he actually has the right to tell his brothers how to vote, and then plastered all over Twitter is, well, black men saying, you hoity-toity, go back to your mansion in Nantucket. We ain't listening to you. So, let's see. I'm going to leave everything else for tomorrow. But this one, incredible. Oh boy. I wish we had more and more and more of people who do right, certainly do right by animals. But here's one example. It's not hard to figure out what the right thing is over the very wrong thing. It's not hard to figure that out. I mean, I think most people understand. He's doing the right thing. I hope you all do the right thing. And I saw Cecilia Amorati, which was nice to see you. I haven't seen you here in a while. I hope you're doing okay, considering. Yeah, a whole lot of you, considering. I wish I could say that things are going to get better, but we're living great familial dysfunction. Yes, the greater family society. Terrific dysfunction. Evil dysfunction. And some of us know how it feels. You would think a whole lot of Americans might band together, have some meetings in their communities, talk about, okay, we've got to kind of unite. Because things are happening in our country that are not good. And we see an awful lot of Americans getting destroyed, whether it's by weather, the economy, illegal migrants, yada, yada, yada. So I think we need to really unite and protect ourselves and do what we need to do, to survive as long as we can the evil that is taking place. Oh, well. Yeah. Live honestly, speak honestly, and do what's right by your community. Check on the elderly, help those in need. You're shopping for food, pick up extra food for the food pantry. You're shopping for, even if you don't have a pet, then it doesn't matter. Pick up, some extra food for the animal shelters. And with all of this weather destruction, shelters are in great need, especially in those areas. You go on Twitter, you see they're desperate for people to foster animals. Okay. On that note, be safe. Good night and good luck. And ciao. Thanks for showing up. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Ciao, guys.